Hello, good afternoon or good morning, depends where you are on this globe, and thank you for registering and connecting to this webinar. For those who don't know me, I'm Peter Howarth. I'm Sales Manager for Special Accounts at AEQ. I'm also the Business Coordinator for our US office. First of all, of course, our thoughts for all the victims and families and the people that are suffering one way or another this terrible pandemic. It's really dire times. Our recommendation, of course, will be stay safe, work as much as you can from home, and take good care of yourself and others. Anyway, I'll introduce to you two people that will be helping me today with the webinar. The first one that I want to introduce to you would be Roberto Tejero. Roberto is our product manager and he's also in charge of customer training. Roberto will explain setup and real-time applications for the Intercom system platforms that we'll present to you today. Good morning or good afternoon, Roberto.
Hello, Peter. Good morning and good afternoon for everyone.
And also helping me today, we have Sergey Alexev. He's in charge of sales in Eastern Europe or EMEA. Sergey will also show us the integration parts of our intercom systems. So he will also show us our user panels and how we can integrate other system parts into our intercom systems. Hi,
exactly.
Sergey, how are you?
Good Hello, Peter. How are you? Good afternoon. Good morning, everyone.
There you go. We don't know whether it's afternoon or morning. It's morning in the States and in
exactly.
Latin America, of course. But we have a few people from Asia actually connecting today with us today. Okay, and just before we start, and then as an FYI, at the end of this webinar, we will open a Q&A session. Okay, so there's a questions area in the webinar too that you can use to place questions during the presentation, but we won't answer those questions until we get to the end of the webinar. Okay. The other thing that I want you guys to take note of is that we will present to you at the end of the webinar, when you leave the webinar, we will present with you a small questionnaire. It's a small questionnaire that will help us and help our marketing team to improve these webinar sessions and make them more useful to everyone. And so please take your time answering 3-4 questions, very short, very concise questions, and it will be really helpful. Okay, so in the event of a loss of connection, you just reconnect on the same original link that was sent out to you as well. Okay, without further delay, I'm going to kick off with the presentation. I'll just make a brief presentation of what AEQ is about. AEQ is a company that's been existing now for 40 years. We have been producing and manufacturing and selling equipment solutions for the broadcasting industry for all these years. And our range of product include audio for broadcasting principally, but we also do broadcast video monitors. And we've basically focused on broadcast communication and intercom systems, audio storage and automation products. We have mixing consoles, among other things, and that's a long historical product and audio codecs as well. We've been present at all the major international sporting events, such as Winter and Summer Olympics since 1988. So we have a long track record of attending those venues and providing equipment and services at such venues or such events. Our headquarters are in Madrid, and being a company focused on international sales, we have offices since 1993 in the States, and we have also offices in Mexico, Portugal, and India. So at the end of the day, the aim of these webinars is basically to help customers and friends or our broadcast acquaintances in general to find solutions allowing you to continue your service with the relative normality that is required during these times. Okay, what we will be focusing on here today is our intercom platforms, and it's these platforms are basically aimed at full workflow integration. When we talk about global solutions, what we mean is that we have an intercom platform that serves as an audio routing matrix at the same time as it is a an intercom matrix with all that, with all what that implies. We will be implementing a system from us. You will be able to manage and control the production resources and operations and content from one single platform, and that simplifies the production and it helps you to focus on the final results. So all our products and systems are broadcast audio quality, so we handle it in 48 kilohertz of sampling frequency and 24 bit of bit depth in the samples. And we are using the audio over IP multi-channel technology from Dante, which is also AES67 compatible, as you will see. So anyway, as I said, we have a long time of experience, and we have a long experience in working with international events, and this has allowed us to develop a new generation of audio system based on our long history. Okay, now, so when we say full workflow integration, what we mean is that all the areas in your broadcast production can be part of our intercom systems. So if I just show you on this very simple synoptic diagram, what we have here is the first system that we will touch base with is the Connexia intercom platform, but it's actually an audio matrix and routing matrix. So we have a core here that is acting as an intercom and an audio matrix at the same time, where we have all the typical inputs and outputs that you would require, like analog, digital AES3. We have also multi-channel AES67 Dante. We have MUDI point-to-point links, and we have also in the audio over IP formats. We also have compatibility with SMPTE 211030 and SMPTE 211031. So as an audio routing input and output device with summing and distribution, no blocking, we have all those audio formats available. And if you look to the left here, we have a typical radio setup where we have a studio and a control room. So all these audio sources can actually be part of our matrix and routing system. Now, for example, an outside broadcast, we would be able to connect commentary units to the Connexia as well. So we have commentary units that will be acting as commentary positions or talent positions at the same time as they would be during setup periods. For example, they would be able to be an intercom panel at the same time. And then obviously we can connect remotely with intercom, another intercom platform, which would be the Crossnet, which is the second platform that we will be showing you today. So here we have a typical setup, an outside setup with a Crossnet. We have our cameras in the set, and then we have, of course, in the gallery we have our panels, and we also have on the floor for our floor managers and such. We have wireless belt packs that is connected to the Crossnet, and all this intercom platform can also be part of our core X-core platform, and we have the possibility to have connectivity with external systems through audio codecs, through standard POTS lines or PSTN lines, even ISDN if necessary, and using audio codecs with SIP or RTP connectivity. So having explained that, we will go into our platforms that we will be showing you today. The first one that we will touch based on will be the Connexia platform. The Connexia is a very large matrix system, so it's handled by the X-core audio matrix, and it allows us to build systems with up to 1024 ports using broadcast audio quality. We can also do very small systems like the Easynet that we will come to touch base on at the end of the presentation. There are basically standalone systems and party line systems that don't require any matrix. So we can build very, very big systems and very, very small systems at the same time. Now, the next platform would be our hybrid platform, which is the Crossnet. The Crossnet is a very compact intercom matrix with audio over IP connectivity, but we also handle analog and VoIP ports on that platform, and even digital port. And this Crossnet comes in versions from 40 to 200 ports, where we have 168 ports available for user panels. subsystem to our basic two platforms would be the Xplorer, which is a wireless-based belt pack, but it also operates as an intercom, can also be operating as part of an intercom matrix or as a party line terminal. And then the Easynet system, which is a system by itself. It's a standalone party line system. It doesn't need a matrix. We can run up to 28 terminals or user panels. They can be rack, desktop, wired, and wireless belt pack. Now, all these 4 units can be interconnected to operate as one single unit. But anyway, we'll go into a little bit more detail with regards to the Connexia system. So the Connexia system is basically, as I said, built by 2 cornerstones. We have the master controller, which is the TM8000, that can be installed in redundancy, or and can also have a redundant power supplies for the convenience. And then we have the new X-Core audio engine, which is our routing matrix with the capacity of 1024 intercom ports. These systems can be built much bigger, but then one single frame will have the capacity of 1024 intercom ports. And the X-Core is a very flexible system because it has audio inputs and outputs, a variety and myriad of formats, with basically all the different formats that you can think of. We can build it redundant in terms of all the features like power supplies. We can have redundant controllers, also the system controllers, because we have a separate system control for example, the audio matrix when you have a mixed operation. The rear slots in these X-Core frames are used for the audio input and output interfaces, where we connect our user panels or other audio interface cards, for example, IFBs, or even, if need be, telecoms connectivity infrastructures. So, and then the front slots we use to plug our DSP cards, and the DSP cards are basically used for processing, routing, summing, and all the other typical functions that you would be requiring in an audio matrix or an intercom system. So the Connexia, as I said, is a modular intercom system. It's very modular in the sense that you have a myriad of inputs and outputs, and it's suitable of handling all the communications and audio contributions that you have in the station without any doubt at all, because it is in essence an audio matrix with a non-blocking architecture. So it allows us to operate with all the different audio formats in a completely modular way. The system is completely redundant in all aspects, and it has a backup and failover for controllers, cards, even for cross points. And the flexibility and robustness of this unit is amazing, and it allows us to operate up to, as I said, 1024 ports in a non-blocking mode. So the input and output, we'll just give you a few examples of the different type of interface cards that we have available. We have, for example, as I said in the initial synoptic drawing, we have digital cards for inputs and outputs. We have analog inputs and outputs as well. Then we have what we call our legacy ports, which are the Chroma digital panel ports that allows us to connect the older Chroma telecom user panels, but we can also connect, of course, the series TP8000 that we'll be showing you later on. So we can connect them either in digital or in audio over IP. And then we have, of course, our MADI interfaces for example, point-to-point links with the dual MADI XC12 allows us to connect up to 128 channels. And then we have our high-speed audio link interface, which is the XC13, which is basically also a fiber optic connectivity or point-to-point link that allows us to connect up to 1024 channels over these fiber optic networks or point-to-point networks. It's a link basically to interconnect frames in different locations within reach, so to speak. We can go obviously with SFP transceivers at very long distances, but typically it's to interconnect frames in larger systems. Then the XC19, which is our voice interface, voice over IP interface for the Xplorer belt packs and X virtual applications. These units will allow us also to connect series 8000 user panels, and we can also connect remote user panels through over the internet, for example, because we are using the legacy voice over IP protocol from Chroma Telecom on this one as well. Then the XE24, which is our audio over IP connectivity for our user panels, our series 8000 user panels. It also provides with a SMT211030 compatibility for audio for video with up to 64 channels, and it allows us to connect 32 destinations because, as you will see, our user panels are using two Dante ports. And then to interconnect this system with third-party systems that may be using Ravenna AES67 and also provide, apart from SMT211030, it also provides 211031 with up to 128 channels. But this is a link card to allow us to interface our system with such systems, or systems compatible with this audio over IP format. Now, these interface cards, DSPs and controllers can all be hot swapped, of course. So we have a tremendous flexibility, we have a fantastic scalability, and we can build very, very big intercom systems. But these systems, as I said, can be mixed systems. They can be intercom and audio routing at the same time. Okay, just to conceptually show you what we mean when we talk about a system that is an intercom at the same time as an audio routing matrix. Here in this example, what we are showing is basically how we connect the system in an audio and intercom system. So we have the X cores here, that would be our audio routing systems, our matrices. And at the same time, we have the master controllers that will be controlling the intercom part of these two X core systems. And they are connected through a switch. And we connect all our controllers, the system controllers of the X cores and the master controllers for the intercom systems. We connect to our switch in a cluster using cluster technology. So the X cores are operated in clusters. And then we create links between the X cores to be able to share between the different functions of our system. In this case, we are using an audio matrix at the same time as we're using a intercom system, and we will have to share some audios between the intercom part of the system and the matrix part of the system. And all this is obviously becoming the intercom system and also audio management system. And the way to control that would be through the Crossmapper, which is also controlling or connected to the network switch in this case. Now, in order to run these systems and to be able to control them, there's nothing you can do with the hardware only. You need a powerful software, and we have the applications for that, which is the Crossmapper. And there are two versions of them, and we have the Crossmapper standard, and then we have also the live Crossmapper. And we use these applications to configure and to set up and to run the intercom systems. And Roberto will show me or show us how to configure basically the Connexia system. Right now, we'll give us an introduction, and we will be able to see how we configure the Connexia matrix.
Well, thank you, Peter. Well, but we are going to see an introduction of the Crossmapper, the software to configure our intercom system with matrix. In that case, we are focused in Connexia system, and we will see the configuration in a Crossnet system. In that case, well, this software, Crossmapper, is a software to configure and manage our system, our intercom system. It's a software without cost. It's free distributed. We can install that software in several equipments. There are no limit to install, but only one could be connected to the matrix to control or manage it. Well, we have two possibilities, possibilities to manage that the matrix. One is an online connection. We are connected to the matrix with the Crossmapper. We connect over Ethernet the Crossmapper to the matrix and configure it. Other possibility is to have an offline configuration. In that case, we can make a new configuration and then store it in a file. We can distribute it to other applications, to other Crossmapper in other parts, or in case you have any problem, you can send it to us or to support and check it the configuration, and then we can send to the matrix that configuration, start the system or put the system up. Well, here we can see the Crossmapper configuration. It's very easy to use software. Here we have the different interfaces and panel. Here we have the part of configure that interface or panel, and in that part have different controls. The use is very easy. It's user friendly, but we have several tools to manage our matrix. Here we have to control in real time the matrix with that software, Crossmapper. We have cross point map when we can make cross points in real time, and we can check the status of that matrix and that system. Here we can see the status of all the panels connected to that matrix. This is the controls in real time with that software, the Crossmapper. As Peter said, we have other software. It's over license. Software has cost. That software is Live Crossmapper. It's to control the system in real time, and we can connect up to 10 live Crossmapper at the same time. Yes, at the same matrix at the same time, to control like hotkeys, IFBs, cross points, all the system in real time. This is other software, but that it's more focused to configure and manage the system. Well, in case of Connexia, here we have a configuration of that matrix. First here, well, as Peter said, Connexia is a matrix that use a core, in that case the X core, use a core or router of an audio matrix. In that case, is a modular system. Here in layout editor, we select the different cores of that Connexia because it's possible to have more than one core. In that configuration, we have only one, but it's possible to have more than one. We only need to select the IP address, or we can configure the IP address of that core, and then we can see the different interface card we have in that core. To configure that code, we only select the model of that interface card. It could be maybe Amari or analog 4 wires, digital AS3, etc. Amari. We can select that interface card and select the port. When we have that configuration, we come back to the interface screen, and here we can add different interfaces or different panels. Clicking here, I only need to select the kind of panel and the interface we want. Maybe in that case, audio over IP using Dante, and we only select the IP address of that panel. Here we have different panels in case of Dante or in other interface like digital, the old digital Chroma protocol. We can select here between the new panels, old interfaces we can see with that digital interface. It could be analog interface, maybe audio links, etc. And here we added that panels and interfaces to interact and programming the system. Well, here to configure the panel, we only need to click twice in one key to configure the different commands on that key. Here we have different pages in that kind of panels, rack panels, and desktop panel. We have 4 pages, 16 keys and 4 pages. Well, I go to other page, and here click twice in a key, and I can configure the different commands I want in that key to execute when I press that key. Well, the usual commands, we have the talk and listen, and I can select command, talk command. If you want to talk from that panel to other, like to call other panel, and I select the command, in that case the call, the talk, and in target select the destination. Clicking here, I added that command. Well, it's possible to add up to 16 commands in one key. It's not necessary to have the same kind of command or the same target. I maybe select that other command and maybe that other port or panel, and I can add it here. Of course, here we have the programming of that key. Of course, we can select between the both functionalities of pressing the key, like latch or push to talk. It's possible to have that kind of configuration. As you can see, it's very easy to configure a system using Crossmapper. Well, it's a small introduction. We come back to Peter to continue with the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, so let me see if you see the screen. You should be seeing the screen correctly now. Yeah, so thank you very much, Roberto. And so what we will be focusing on is our 2 platforms, the subsystems that we have available, and how we sort of are able to integrate them and make the Intercom platform controlling or have a providing a global solution for our production needs. Now, what we're trying to demonstrate or show you today here, this is it looks like a complex drawing, but it's not that complex actually. It's what we have here is basically 4 Connexia cores that could be remotely located. They could be on different locations, and they could be separate intercom systems for separate locations. But they have sub-locations, of course, and they have sub-functions that could be totally integrated into one single system. And it would be, these systems would be connected through a redundant fiber optic WAN or whatever we have available in order to provide sufficient bandwidth to connect these systems with trunk clients and what is necessary. So if we look at the first part of this drawing here to the upper left corner, we have basically a standard setup of a Connexia where we have their user panels. We even have a wall box in the set where we can take analog and digital audio coming in to the system through our netbox 32 that will be converting this from audio over IP to analog and digital signals. And we have also our audio consoles to handle the downmix for the system, and it's connected also to the X-core through the audio over IP. But we can also connect with third-party equipment through MADI with MADI links, and we can also have external connectivity through ISDN or IP networks with our Phoenix audio codecs. In this case, represented here is a Phoenix Stratos with this dual connectivity possibility. On the other location here, we have a more classic setup for example, a TV broadcaster, where we have a Connexia system that is connected to using an Xplorer wireless system, for example, for the set. We also have external communications through the Systel IP16, which is our voice over IP SIP multi-conference talk show system. And we also have connectivity through the internet too. For example, in this case, we have here an outside broadcast unit where we're doing their outside production with their cameras. The camera operators are connected, the CCUs are connected to the Crossnet. And we have the program feed, the audio program would be sent back through a Phoenix Venus audio codec, for example, through either GSM or 4G or 3G router, and so on and so forth. We even have in this OB-WAN, we have a talent box or Olympia 3 commentary unit that could act as an intercom panel at certain times, for example, during the setup. And then we have a mixing console doing the down mix for the overall audio of the program audio for this outside broadcast production, and their user panels for the production team in the OB-WAN gallery. Here to the right, we have another Connexia system that will be handling, for example, an Easynet system, which is, as I said in the introduction, is basically an intercom system that doesn't require a matrix, but we could connect it to the matrix so that these Easynet terminals becomes part of an audio matrix as well at certain times. So it could be a standalone system at some times. At certain times, we connect it to the Connexia intercom system and the X-core system. And we have on a remote location here, we have another Crossnet that is connected through one to that main station. Basically a simple setup with a Crossnet and their user panels. And we can even have, for example, a remote unit using voice over IP protocol in a remote location on the other side of the globe, basically using a standard internet connection connecting to our Connexia system. And then the last part here is a system that would be using a standard setup with a TP8000 panels, desktop or rack mounted, to control the production, but at the same time they are also hooking up to outside broadcast units through the Systel IP. Could be their regular contributors or the regular correspondents that are calling in on the talk show system, or even audience. And then the Venus 3 audio codecs that provides IP and internet connectivity to external systems and external locations without any, this would be a seamless operation directly from the panels. Now, the Connexia, as I said, is a very, very large system. So it's building intercom and audio matrices for rather large operations. Just to give you a few examples of people that are using it and are operating these, you have for example, Super Noticia in Brazil. They have a system which is pretty much looking like the previous example, where you have a system that is distributed through on 3 different geographical locations. And then we have obviously in other countries as well, like ECTV, which is the public television of Ecuador. We also have Claro Sports in Mexico, and they used it for the first time for the Rio Olympic Games. They were actually using it as at the same time as an intercom system, as well as an audio production system for their off tubes, because they were producing all the Spanish commentary for the Spanish audience on the cell phone networks in Latin America. It was a captive audience of well over 400 million people that were taking the different venues, the unilateral commentary in Spanish language. Other users are RAI in Italy. We have Correio de Manhã and TSF in Portugal. Begaterka, important Russian state radio and television, a very important user of the Connexia systems as well. In any event, what we're trying to tell you is that we have several or many references that we can offer you for you to have a look at, and you're most welcome to have a look on our website and download those user references for further information. Okay, now the second platform that we want to discuss here with you today is our Crossnet, which is an Intercom, which is a compact matrix. It is for smaller systems. It's a hybrid solution, basically, because this system allows you to connect audio over IP. It allows you to connect systems in analog with analog ports. It provides also digital ports, and it also provides voice over IP ports. It can manage anything from a basic 40 by 40 port system up to a 200 by 200 audio channel system. And we want to stress on this, these systems, both platforms are broadcast quality audio processing systems. So it provides broadcast audio quality. Now, this matrix will grow with the user needs, but it will only grow in audio over IP multi-channel in multi-channel ports. So we can configure audio levels freely as we want to. We can add as many IFBs as we have available in the system. And we can also connect without any problem and integrate PSTN connections, ISDN, voice over IP, SIP, GSM, etc., etc. We have all those building cornerstones for the Crossnet as well. These cornerstones and products are definitely shared between both Crossnet and Connexia. So in that sense, the systems have great similarities. It also acts as a base station for the Xplorer wireless system, which means that we don't have to make any particular additional integration or setup for the Explorers. And one thing that is very interesting with the Crossnet is that it's actually an integrated, the actual matrix has an integrated user panel in the front. So you have your 4 destination keys that you can program freely, normally as IFBs, I would say. And you have also a connected for your headset. So you have a speaker as well, so you could monitor your IFBs without having to have a headset connected. Okay, so just to go through the different features and the different possibilities to connect, we have the common ports, which are the 8 chroma digital ports that are located here. And on top of that, we have also 12 analog ports. These analog ports are not powered, but they provide connectivity for example, camera CCUs or wherever we need a 4-wire connectivity. And then we have also 8 GPIOs on the unit to be able to control or trigger or take triggering from external devices. It comes with a redundant power supply. And the digital port allows us to connect with the legacy panels from older systems. So if we have a system that we want to upgrade, we can easily connect the older chroma panels like the Series 4000 or Series 5000 panels without any problem. It has, as I said, the 4 wires, the 12 4-wires analog ports, they are not powered, so you need external power for that if you need to connect to a powered CCU. And it allows us to connect, of course, Dante and voice over IP on these 2 Ethernet ports. So it allows us to connect this matrix can be in redundancy in a redundant Dante network. The setup and the control we do through the Crossmapper and the Dante controller, just like in the Connexia case, and we will get into that in a little while. And Roberto will show us again how it works with the Crossnet. You will see it's exactly the same as with the Connexia. So what we have here now is a very simple system It's similar to a part of the system that we saw earlier, where we have an OB-WAN, where we're using a Crossnet, which is since it's only one rack unit height, it's a very useful little matrix in terms of size, and where we connect our cameras through the CCUs on the analog port. We have, for example, for our external connections, we have also available the connectivity to the Venus 3, Phoenix Venus 3 audio codecs. We can connect them with audio over IP, multi-channel networks. We can also connect to the voice over IP port or to the same switch. We can connect a couple of access points to provide service to our Xplorer wireless beltpacks. With the audio over IP connectivity on the network in the OB-WAN, we have connectivity with the multi-channel audio connectivity with the console for the mixing console for the down mix of the program. And then, of course, we have the possibility to connect net boxes to do a format conversion basically within the venue. For example, taking analog signals from the PA system or digital systems and convert them into audio over IP multi-channel flows for our network. This OB-WAN is also equipped with a couple of talent boxes and Olympia 3 commentary units that can be operating either as intercom panels during, for example, the setup, and they can also operate at the same time as a standard commentary unit, a talent box, to provide the commentary signal for the program. And then, of course, in our production gallery in the OB-WAN, we have all our TP 8000 user panels. In this case, we have depicted here the 8116, which is the one rack unit height user panel. So that would show you a simple installation of the Crossnet. Now, this is a platform which is very flexible, and it reaches a very large number of different applications. And since it's allowing you to connect up to 168 panels, 128 of those in audio over IP, it becomes a very flexible and powerful system, and allows you to reach a very large number of installations with this platform. Now, a few examples here, and as I said, with the Connexia, you can find the references on our website without any problem. You can download them freely and consult them for further information. But just a few examples here. We have, for example, the BAN News from Sao Paulo, Multimedios in Mexico. They have actually 6 systems. We have also Sequoia, and then the first time this system was used, I would say, in a larger event would be by the BBC in the US for the US elections. And they were doing the production as BBC, and provided also the signal for the service to NPR. And they were using it as an intercom and mixed intercom and audio routing system. We have other uses like in all the corners of the world, like RSTV in Thailand and the Ho Chi Minh Stadium in Vietnam, the Minsk Stadium in Belarus, and we also have smaller stations like TV7 in Finland, which is a religious station. And one moment of particular pride would be the European Championships in 2018, where we had the intercom system spread out between Germany and Glasgow in the UK. We were running actually 2 systems there. We ran a commentary system using Dante, and we used the intercom system to coordinate all the production in both Germany, in Berlin, and in Glasgow at all the different venues in both cities. Worked really, really well. So, and it proved to be a very flexible system. Also in the Baku games, we had the intercom system installed. Okay, now as I said, the way to control and set up the Crossnet is very similar to the Connexia, because it's using exactly the same software platform as the Connexia will do, and that is the Crossmapper. So I'll hand over to Roberto, and Roberto will show us how we configure simply just an introduction to how we configure the Crossnet with the Crossmapper.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. Thank you. Well, let's continue a little bit with Crossmapper. Well, as we can see with the configuration with Connexia, the Crossnet configuration, it's the same because we use the Crossmapper for the both matrix to configure the both matrix. Well, to have a new configuration, to configure a new map, as we say, that configuration of a matrix, click here in that part, and we can select the different system among the system we are available in our AEQ system we are available. In that case, we have Connexia, of course, in here in that part, and matrix type. We have only Connexia because, as we can see, it's a modular system, and we can add different cores, one or more, and different interface cards. Well, in the case of Crossnet, we select the Crossnet here, and in matrix type, we need to select the model of that Crossnet. We have different models: 40, 72, 104, 136, etc. Well, this is depends on, as Peter said, depends on the Dante ports capacity of the matrix. Well, in that case, we select one of them, and we create a new map, and we can start to configure that map. In that case, we select a map that it's created like that for the Crossnet, but it's very easy to configure or to start a new map. Then we can add the interfaces and panel, as we say, and it's very easy to configure. Well, here in the system general settings, in the case of Connexia, we configure the core or cores of the system, but in that case we don't have cores. Well, here we have the access to the synchronization of the Crossnet. In case of Connexia, that synchronization it's in the cards. Here in the Crossnet, it's we configure with that parameters. Well, Crossnet has a different synchronization system, like Connexia. We have the possibility to use the internal clock, an internal synchronization for the intercom system. All the intercom systems are synchronized by the clock or internal clock of the matrix, or we can synchronize that internal clock of the intercom using an external clock, like our clock. In that case, we can synchronize maybe with the other audio matrix or maybe a mixer, etc. Well, other possibility it's to use the synchronization over Dante. It's possible to have the master. In that case, when we have a completely separately or separate the intercom system using it's a part of the other audio system. In that case, we can synchronize over Dante all the system using the matrix. This is one possibility. Or other possibility is to have the matrix a part of a biggest audio system, maybe where there are in that the Dante system, maybe other mixers or their audio matrix, etc. And that matrix, the Crossnet, it's not the master. It's only a part of that system. In that case, we have maybe a mixer, the master of the Dante, and we can configure here that Crossnet it's a slave, and we send that slave clock all the intercom system. Okay. That's it's a bit more difficult configuration, but because we have a lot of possibilities in that case, in the case of the synchronization. Well, as we can see here, this is the Xplorer. It's our wireless beltpack. Peter, we talk about it. And the configuration is the same. Clicking twice in a key, we can configure the commands. Here, there is only one, but it's possible to have up to 16. Of course, the configuration of push to door or latch a command key or function key. Well, we have other part, and it's the audio levels of the system. Well, here, the system, I select other panel to see better. Well, here all our panels has an audio control to modify to go up and down the volume of that panel. But it's possible to configure to fix that volume or that audio levels in the intercom matrix. You have two possibilities. One possibility is here in the interfaces, and the other possibility is to modify the audio level of a cross point. Well, here, when I select one device here, I can modify the input or the output audio level. In the interface, when I modify that interface, that affects to all the system. In case the input, I increase the audio level of the interface, the input interface, when any of the panels or interfaces talk or send audio to that device listen that audio with more level, because we are modifying the interface of that device. Well, other possibility is when I want only to modify the audio level in a cross point. In a cross point, it's only in the path of the audio from one source to one destination. In that case, I select the source, maybe this one, it's an Xplorer, and the target, maybe it's that panel, because maybe the operator of that panel says that he or she listened the beltpack very low. In that case, well, we have here the source, the destination, and we modify the volume, the audio level of that cross point. In that case, we are only modifying the audio when audio goes from Xplorer to that panel. Only if we have or we can see, well, the other way, Xplorer, we can see that the cross point is in 0. It's not a modifier, because we only modify one way command in that case. And we can modify different levels. Of course, this is for maybe a fine adjust, but usually we can modify the audio levels using the device or the device in the panel or in Xplorer, etc. And we increase or decrease the volume here. Well, other possibility in the panels, here we have extra configuration of a panel, because our panels has like an internal audio matrix or a cross point. We have Sergey explained to us in a moment. that panels has several interfaces, and we could have different cross point between that interfaces, or modify the audio levels of that interfaces inside that panel. Well, in that case, we can see it's a more complex configuration, but in general, as I say, it's a very easy to use interface. Well, now we are continuing with Sergey, that it's explaining more things about our system. Thank you.
Thank you, Roberto. Thank you, Peter. Hello once again. For those who don't know me, my name is Sergey Alexeyev. As my colleague Peter already mentioned, I'm the area sales manager in charge of Eastern Europe, Middle East, and also African countries. Okay. First of all, I would like to remind you once again that please stay until the end with us, because we will have possibilities to answer some questions. Okay. And also some housekeeping once again. We please ask you to answer the questions, the short list of the questions that you have regarding the webinar. It will help a lot to our partners from the marketing department. Okay, thank you. So let's follow up with the webinar. Okay, I will I will explain more deeply a couple of topics. First one will be the user panel, as you can see in the picture. Second one will be the wireless, our Xplorer, our wireless beltpack solution. Okay. The third one will be integration. Let's speak deeply about integration of our another devices integrated in our Intercom solution. Okay. And the last topic will be our party line, the Easynet solution. Okay. So first one, let's speak about the panels. Okay. Our, as you know, the Intercom solution is it's a system for internal coordination and communication. So obviously, the user panels play a very, very special role in this task. Okay, as you can see, we would like to introduce you our TP8000 series of user panels. In the picture you can see the desktop solution, the desktop option, which is the TP8416. Okay, and on the right, next to the bottom, you can see the rack mounted version, which is the TP8116. Okay, so both of them, as you can see, have two displays, loudspeaker, 16 programmable keys. Okay, and you have up to 4 pages. Okay, so you are able to establish communications with 64 destinations. Also, as you can see in the picture on the left and the bottom, you have the expansion panel, which is the EP8116. Okay, so this gives you a chance to address communications with 64 destinations, but in this case you will have 64 physical keys. Okay, so you have 16 plus another 16 if you need. Okay. Let's talk about the main features of these panels, okay, of this TP8000 panels. So we're talking about two special features: audio quality and DSP. Okay, audio quality. As the audio is digitized using 24 kilohertz sampling frequency and the bit depth for 24 bits, this will provide us full bandwidth and a very low noise and distortion levels. Okay, so here basically we're talking about broadcast quality audio communications. Regarding DSP, all the 8000 TP panels comes with the DSP inside in it. So this will obviously increase the quality of the audio signals, but also will give you the chance to process the audio internally and independently in each panel. Okay, so for example, if we want to use a noise gate or we want to reduce an ambient noise in a certain panel, because there's a certain user that we need to adjust, we can use the expansor, the compressor, or if we need to adjust the volume in order to change the quality of the voice of the speaker in a certain panel, you can do it with this DSP, okay, with this option. So once again, as I mentioned, here we're talking about broadcast audio quality. So you can even use your panels in order to send contribution for on-air problems. Okay. Okay, let's see the back side of the panel, and let's check out all the interfaces that we have here. Okay, so first of all, as you can see, you have an analog interface. Okay, this one is quite useful if you want to integrate, to put together some device which is outside our intercom system and integrated in our intercom audio pads. Okay, so for example, imagine yourself there is an equipment close to a panel, and we would like to integrate the audio from that equipment in our intercom network. Okay, so we can connect that audio using the analog, that equipment to the audio, to the intercom panel by the analog interface, and you are able to send this this audio internally in your intercom system, whatever you want, to the matrix, to another panel. You can route it, so it will integrate audio. So it's quite useful, especially when this equipment, this third-party equipment, is far away from the matrix and you still need to integrate that audio. Okay. Another interface. Let's go for the second one, the voice over IP. Okay. This one is a proprietary IP protocol. Okay, it's a Chroma legacy protocol. Okay, voice over IP. This one is quite useful. It's quite useful, especially when there's a panel which is located far away from the entire intercom system. I'm not talking about another room. I'm talking about another building, another city, even maybe another country. Okay, so using this port, using the voice over IP port, we can have, for example, have an intercom panel which is in New York, and we have an intercom system with a matrix with a Crossnet, for example, in London. So using Ethernet, we can connect that panel from the New York to our system using your Ethernet or your VPN connection. Okay, and that that panel will be part of our intercom, so you will be able to address communications to all the users of the London network, intercom network. Okay, so once again, quite useful. The third one, digital port. Okay, this one is also our proprietary Chroma legacy protocol. Okay, and this is quite useful if you want to connect directly the panel to the matrix. Okay, so the quality of this one is pretty good. Actually, as we like to call it, is like a CD player audio quality. Okay, so it's once again quite useful. Okay, and the audio quality is quite good. Next one, audio over IP, which is the Dante IP interface, Dante network. Okay, so keep in mind that all the intercom, all the TP8000 panels come with these interfaces. Okay, so it's quite useful. For example, if you want to integrate your panel in your already existing Dante network, you are able to use it. But also think about this. If you make an upgrade and, for example, you want to stop using your digital ports for the panels and you want to upgrade and use Dante for all your entire audio pads, including the intercom pads, you are able to make the upgrade and you don't need to switch the panel for new ones, because these panels comes already with the Dante interface. Okay, so once again, quite useful. Another advantages of all this ports is obviously that you can have redundancy. So for example, if you want to have special redundancy for a certain panel, you can use two pads. So you can connect the panel with a digital port and also through Dante port to the same matrix. Okay, in this case you have redundancy per panel, and in the same way you can use it in the opposite. You can connect one panel to two different intercom networks. Okay, so imagine yourself, you have a TP8116 and there's one intercom network which is based on the Connexia, so you can use a digital port in order to connect it to that network. And you have another network, second one, intercom network, which is based on the Crossnet solution, for example. And in that case, you can use in the same panel the Dante interface, and that panel will be part also of that second intercom network. So it's working at the same time with the both systems. Okay, so pretty good. Also, you have one GPI, one GPO, quite useful, for example, in case you need, like we used to say it, like an additional key. Okay, so 17th key in this case, you can use the GPO port. Okay. About the intercoms, about the panels, sorry, the last point to be mentioned is integration with the older panels. Okay, so these new solutions introduced quite good by Roberto and Peter are able to work with the older panels. Okay, all the previous Chroma panels, digital panels, can be perfectly integrated in this system, and this Connexia system and this Crossnet system. Okay, so if you are thinking about making an upgrade and you're looking for a cost-effective solution, or you just want to keep using your old panel because they are in good condition, so you need to switch to another ones, you are still able to use your older panels in the system. Okay, so another advantage. Okay, I think that was all for the first topic. Okay, let's go to the next one, which is the Xplorer, our wireless solution. So as you can see here, the Xplorer is our Wi-Fi wireless belt pack. Okay, it was introduced in 2019, so it's a new product, and it has been a huge success so far. It's a huge success so far. It was introduced in the NAB and the last issue, and also in the IBC, and it's already delivered to the customers so far. Okay, so as I mentioned, it's based on Wi-Fi technology. It's able to work in 2.4 and 5 gigahertz bands. Okay, this belt pack can be part of every kind of system. So here we're talking about it can be integrated in Connexia networks, big networks, Crossnet, medium-sized networks, Intercom, and also it can be part of the Easynet. In this case, it's quite important. We will come back on this topic later. But I will show you that you are able to build your intercom network based only on belt packs. Okay, so you don't need base station, you don't need a matrix. If you want to have a party line based on Explorers, you are able to have it to build it up to 28 devices. Okay, so let's go to check the belt pack. Okay, so as you can see on the bottom on the right on the picture, as you can see, the design of the belt pack as a belt pack should be. So it's robust, it's ergonomic, as a belt pack should be. So it can perform outdoor and indoor. As you can see, there is a TFT display, splash proof, by the way. Okay, you can see that we have 6 physical keys, number 1, 2, 3, 4, in order to address communication with the destination of that page. Okay, you have up to 4 pages. We will see later this. You have also on the upside 2 programmable keys. Okay, this can be programmed for different use. Okay, even you can program 2 commands for 1 button. So for example, imagine yourself command A can be short press, and you can establish a communication with the system destination or control the volume. And long press, for example, long touch can be designed or configured for block the communication to avoid cut it if I press it accidentally. Okay. As you have 2 encoders. Okay, so on regular basis, one is to control the general volume of the belt pack, and you can configure the second one in order to control some certain destination, some certain user. Okay, from the 4 pages for the different 16 destinations that you are able to establish. Okay. Regarding let's back to the information that we have on the screen. As you can see, menu on page number 1. So on regular basis, the key on the top on the left, when you press it, you go inside the menu and you can go through the menu. Okay. The second, the other programmable key on the right on regular basis is for paging, in order to switch for paging number 1 until up to page number 4. Okay, and the other 4 cases to establish communication with the destinations on that certain page. Okay, as you can see, also we have the coverage on the bottom on the screen. the mute option. If it's turned off or it's turned off, you will see it. And also you can see the battery capacity, okay? So regarding the battery, Xplorer features a very long work capacity, and as the battery lasts for 20 hours, okay? So here we're talking about 20 hours with the display turned on permanently. Okay, so if we turned off if it's turned off during usage or during some event or the workflow, you will still have much more time available. Okay, so but on regular basis you have 20 hours. Okay, with non-stop workflow. As you can see, regarding the base stations, you have here in the picture, as we are showing the base station for 5 devices. But recently, we also incorporated in the price list the second option, which is for up to 2 devices. Okay, so if you don't need 5, you can ask for the two devices base station. Okay, so let's move forward. Okay, regarding the implementation and the setup of the equipment. As the Xplorer is based on Wi-Fi technology, this will allow to make a very fast and cost-effective deployment of the system. Okay, here in AEQ, as we are integrators and also manufacturers, we can integrate the entire solution. So we are able to provide you the Intercom network, the belt packs, and also the Wi-Fi access points. Okay, but if your customer is already using a stable and quite reliable Wi-Fi network, and they don't want to purchase access points because they trust in their Wi-Fi network and they want to integrate the belt packs in their already existing network, Wi-Fi network, it's possible. Okay, so here you can see a couple of examples. For example, in this case, on the left, on the bottom, you see this is our customer from Mexico. This is Telemundo, and they were using the belt packs, the Explorer belt packs in the events in Mexico City. It was quite crowded. There were more than 50,000 people there, and they used their own Wi-Fi network, and the Explorer performed quite good, pretty good. They are quite happy, and this was, if I'm not mistaken, was the first time that they used the belt packs, and nowadays they are using it regular basis, almost every day. Okay, for the outside operations. Another example is on the right. You can see the Opera National Lithuanian Opera House. Okay, this is based in Vilnius. They have an intercom system based on Connexia and our wireless solution also. And last example, also quite interesting, is a customer from Ukraine. Okay, Xplorer is a live production company. They're specialized in music, live production environments. Okay, and they built their new Obi-Wan in the end of 2019. They decided to go for our Crossnet solution, and recently, a couple of weeks ago, they decided to integrate the Xplorer in their system. Okay, so once again, they are using their own Wi-Fi network. Okay, and they are pretty happy with the performance of the Xplorer. Okay, so it was the end of the second topic of the wireless solutions. Now I would like to speak more deeply about the integration. Okay, about the integration in the Intercom system of another equipment. Okay, so as you know, in AEQ, one of our challenges here in AEQ has always been the integration of all our product range in our Intercom systems. Okay, so one of these products is, which is currently fully integrated in the Intercom solution, is the commentary unit Olympia 3. Okay, as you know, AEQ has a large experience in commentary system, as we have been participating in for more than 20 years in all the Olympic Games, in soccer, swimming, and a lot of international massive sport events, providing audio contribution and intercommunication. Okay, so let's speak quite briefly about the basic features of the Olympia 3. Okay, so it's a standalone equipment. Okay, it's a talent box commentary unit. It's 100% audio IP based, connected with 8 channels via Dante, designed for 3 commentators, as you can see in the picture. And it's suitable for several environments like remote production, like off-tube production, simultaneous translation, OB operations, and all this kind of environments, as you can see in the bottom of the picture in the different photographies that you have. Okay, so also, by the way, quite important now, you can integrate the video signal, video IP path in order to follow up the sport events with a link that we decided especially for this equipment. Okay. So as I mentioned, the Olympia 3 is based on a Dante audio over IP protocol. So we can easily integrate the audio paths from the commentary unit to our intercom matrix. But in AEQ, we decided to go one step forward, okay, and make a deeper integration of these devices in our intercom solutions, okay. So what we did, we decided to include in this left commentator, as you can see at the commentator number 1, an intercom panel, okay, an independent intercom panel. So the user can press the key function, which is the key on the upside on the panel, the first one on the right, yes. And when you press the function, you can switch to what we call intercom mode, okay. This part, this user will switch to the intercom option, let's say to intercom option, and it becomes an intercom panel. Okay, it becomes another regular panel in our intercom system with the same features as a regular panel like the TP8416 or the TP8116. Okay, so here you have 8 direct keys in order to address communication with 8 different destinations. Okay, you have also pages like in a regular intercom, so you are able to switch from one page to another, and you are also able to make your own cross points. Okay, like once again like a regular. Okay, so this user, imagine yourself normal workflow scenario. So the user on the left can be working in the intercom mode, and he can be talking with the OB-WAN, okay, talking with the TV studio and make some talking about some technical issues, okay. And the other 2 users, then the user number 2 and number 3, can be talking about the match which they are following up off tube in the same unit and the same device. Okay, so it's quite flexible in terms of workflow. Okay, another sort of equipment which is also fully integrated nowadays in our intercom solution are our codecs. Okay. As you know, we need the codecs, and we need obviously the codecs in order to share programs between 2 different production centers or incorporate live reports. For that, we need obviously audio codecs. Okay, here we can see on the right several solutions that AEQ is manufacturing nowadays. First of all is the Venus 3, which is an audio codecs full duplex, 2 audio pads, both of them IP. Okay, second one is the Phoenix Mercury. Okay, the Mercury is also full duplex, and it IP based. It has one audio channel codec. Okay, and the Stratos, the last one, which is also full duplex, 2 channels. But in this case, there's a difference with the Venus 3 because the Phoenix Stratos has 1 audio over IP channel, and the second one is ISDN. Okay. We're still manufacturing the Phoenix Stratos because we're working with all around the world, and we still have customers that are requiring even nowadays ISDN codecs, okay, because they are still using ISDN lines in many countries. Okay, so the most common application when we talk about integration of this codecs in our intercom system is coordination with engineer teams for mobile phones. But that's not the only use we can have. I will put you an example. For example, we can have a journalist who is located remotely in a football stadium far away from the studios, and he's sending contribution by using a codec, which could be, for example, a Phoenix Audio, our portable codec, our portable solution. Okay, and he has, for example, a 4G SIM card, or he's using a Ethernet connection. Okay, and he's sending the contribution to the studio. But in our case, what we can do is we can integrate that audio pad in our intercom solution. Okay, so you will be able to address that contribution to every single destination inside every single user inside the intercom network. So, for example, if I'm in the studio and I have a panel, rack-mounted panel for communications, I'm able to monitoring that contribution just by pressing one single key, okay? Because I'm able to receive that audio pad from that codec located remotely in the football stadium. And in the same way, I'm able to establish communication. I'm able to press a key and establish directly the communication from my intercom panel in the studio with that codec which is located, with that journalist, with that codec which is located remotely in the football stadium. Okay. So also the last but not the least equipment which is fully integrated in our intercom system is the Systel IP. Okay, the Systel IP, as you know, is our multi-conference solution for TV and radio. Okay, and as the Systel is also 100% IP based on Dante protocol, we can also route and control all the incoming and outgoing calls of the Systel in our matrix, okay, in our intercom solution, okay. But now I would like to ask Roberto to join us once again and to show you how it goes on real life, because it will be much more useful than me explaining you using my words. So he will explain how it goes using the Crossmapper, our software. Okay, so please, Roberto.
Thank you, Sergey. Well. Now, as Sergey said, but we have several equipment to integrate all the pads outside the common intercom. One of them is our AEQ Olympia 3. It's a commentary unit, but it's a commentary unit and it's a panel too. Well, this in the physical equipment, we can set it here with pressing that button, that function button. When we press that button, we can switch between the both functionalities, intercom panel or commentary position. When we switch to intercom panel, we have we can see that that configuration we have in the matrix in our commentary unit. It's like a panel, because we have here the keys. In case of Crossmapper, the configuration in Crossmapper is exactly the same. Clicking twice in a key, and we select command or commands, because we could have more than one, up to 16. And we have here, we can see sorry, I have here the possibility to see, you can see in that part, the 4 pages, 8 keys, 4 pages for that panel. It's exactly the same that other panels. We can configure the same commands that we can configure in a standard panel, like the desktop panel or rack panel. We only need here for the Olympia to configure the IP address and select the port. We, in that case, over Dante to send the audio and receive the audio from to the commentary unit. Well, as I say, it's very simple to configure and to manage the physical equipment. Well, here, that part, we have here the audio codecs, the possibility to add audio codecs. As Sergey said, it's possible to have an external audio codec. It could be connected close to the matrix and have maybe a Dante interface to send and receive audio. And that audio could be connect remote location or the using gateways. We can connect to telephone system, maybe IP telephone system using SIP, or analog telephone system using that gateways, or maybe GSM connection. Well, here in that part, we only need to put to configure the IP address of that audio codec and select the audio channels to send and receive that audio. It could be analog or maybe Dante. Of course, Dante is the better way to simplify the system. Well, this is the configuration of the audio codec. Well, in the audio codec, it's possible to receive calls. In that case, depends on the call, we want to route, to send that audio to, or that call to maybe a panel or an interface. Well, here we can configure incoming calls and we can select. We have here a phone book that now we are going to see. We can select the incoming person or direction or IP, and when we receive an incoming call for that origin, we send to maybe a panel or an interface. It's very, very useful. As I said, here in dial, here we have a phone book. We can select maybe, as we can see in that part, an IP address. In that case, it's usually when we want to call from one audio codec to other audio codec, or maybe we can add a phone number to send to call one person, etc., using analog telephone lines or other kinds of gateways, using a gateway, maybe a GSM handy, or etc. This is one possibility. Other possibility is to add a SIP address, maybe to send or to call using IP system with that SIP directions. In that case, maybe beta, and we can see beta at SIP AEQ is. In that case, we can add the different directions. This depends on the network we want to use, maybe an IP connections between audio codecs or audio codecs of phones using SIP, or directly using a gateway, a phone call. Well, how can call to someone? One possibility, here I go to a panel. One possibility is to fix a key, program a key, clicking twice here with that command. We select the dial call command, and I only need to select the audio codec to make that calling, and select in the phone book the direction. And in that case, I have that key to call to David. Well, of course, in case of desktop panels like this, we have a keypad, and we can dial in directly using that keypad. Well, this is very easy to use, but in case of rack mount panels, we don't have that possibility. In this panel, if we only use one panel, but we have the possibility to add extension panels, as Jay said, and in that case, like that, we can add it up to 3 extension panels We only select one, the first one. And if I use that panel with the rack mount panel with the extension panel, I have the possibility to dial in directly using the key. Well, and we have the possibility to add the multi-conference IP system using Dante. In that case, we can add it here the Dante ports, and we can send the audio or receive the audio from or to that multi-conference IP system, sister IP, using the Dante interface. And well, it's the introduction of Crossmapper. We return and continue with Sergey about the presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Roberto. Thank you very much. As I told you, I'm quite sure that was much more useful to show you how it goes on real workflow instead of explain it with words. Okay, so I really hope that it was quite useful and interesting. Okay, so now we will speak about the last topic of the webinar, the last but not the least. We will speak about the Easynet, our party line solution. Okay, so as I mentioned you, Easynet is a party line system, okay, and it's based on Ethernet connection and features 4-channel party line, okay. So main advantages, main features of cost-effective and fast setup. Why? Because you don't need a matrix, okay. In this case, the switch, Ethernet switch is your matrix. So system can be based on rack-mounted panels, desktop panels, only belt packs, only wireless or wired or wireless belt packs. Okay, you don't need the matrix. Okay, so that makes a huge advantage. So it's fast and once again cost effective. Okay, as you can see on the bottom on the left, you can create a system with up to 28 devices. Doesn't matter what kind of devices. If you want 28 rack mounted panels, you are very welcome. You are able to create that system. If you want 28 Xplorers with no base stations, no rack mounted panels, also possible. Okay, or if you want some mixed, like customers normally ask for, combination between rack mounted, desktop, wired and wireless, also possible. Okay, as we, let's go through the different options and the different terminals that we have in the Easynet solution. On the upside, you have the BS 3004, which is the rack mounted version. Okay, as you can see, you have 4 keys in the front of the panel. Okay, you have a loudspeaker, you have the interface for the Crossnet microphone and for the headset. Okay, also on the other side, on the back side, you have four wire analog ports. Okay, so you will be able to integrate analog audio pads to your Easynet, to your party line solution, in case you need to integrate some third-party audio from another equipment. Okay, the BS, the desktop terminal, sorry, which is the BS 3204. Same as the previous one, but in this case is desktop. Okay, so once again you have 4 keys for the 4 different party line channels. You have the loudspeaker, you have the microphone Crossnet interface and the headset interface also. BP 3004 is the wired belt pack solution. Okay, in the same as the other ones, you have the 4 keys. On, as you can see on the right, on the belt pack, okay, to address communication with the 4 different channels, and you have the 2 keys for the volume control on the top, on the left side, and the Xplorer. Okay, as we saw the Xplorer as as I previously of the Easynet. Okay, so it's able to be integrated in Connexia, Crossnet, or Easynet environments. And once again, it's able to work independently without any kind of metrics or without any kind of base stations. Okay, so you can establish your work intercom Intercom network, sorry, using only explorers if you need it, in case you need it. Okay, so for example, let's talk about some solutions to see some schemes how it's look. Let's go to the next page. So here on the left side, as you can see, here's a regular solutions. You have BS 3004 rack base stations. For example, in this case, we have one connected with some analog interfaces using the four-wired interfaces. We have the switch with power over Ethernet for the belt packs. This one basically is working as a matrix. Also, you can connect your access points in order to use the access point for the wireless solution, and you can connect to the switch once again the desktop base stations. Okay, so for example, if one panel needs to communicate with the user which are speaking with the channel number 1, okay, he can press the key and he will be able to talk with all of them. Okay, so we'll hear all the entire communications of that panel. Okay, and it will be the same functionality for the belt packs, wired or wireless, doesn't matter. Okay, you can also, by the way, configure the keys in order to press them permanently. So even if the user of the panel of the belt pack press it, he will never disconnect the channel, so it will be blocked. Okay, and in the same case, you can do in the opposite. If there is a cameraman, for example, and you don't want him to interrupt somebody which is speaking in the channel number 4, never, because that's an important audio path or communication between director, I don't know, and the floor manager, for example. You can block that K, and even if the cameraman pressed the KD or the KA, he will not be able to get inside the channel and mess up the communication between that person. Okay, so as we mentioned previously, on the right of the page, you can see an example of Easynet party LAN based only on Xplorer. So here we have the switch. Okay, you connect the access point to the switch, and you have your party line already set up, your Easynet set up based on the Explorers, up to 28 devices, up to 28 Explorers once again. Okay. Now, I think that we can mention a couple of examples of happy customers using the Easynet solution. By the way, both of them are from Mexico, so let's start with a small one and go to a bigger one. On the left, you can see the group TEC from Monterrey. They are using a Easyline solution based on desktop panels, okay, in their Obi-Van, and wired belt packs for camera control units and the okay. And another example is Grupo Imagen in Puebla, also based in Mexico. Okay, we have a lot of friends and customers in Mexico. This customer began a couple of years ago with Easynet solution, a small one, and little by little, now they have a medium-sized solution. Recently, they integrated the Xplorer in their already existing Easynet, and it's performing very, very good. So they are quite happy with the performance of the entire solution. Okay, so that was all for today, like they used to say. I believe we should now come back to Peter, and yes, we will have time for some questions, I believe.
Yes, Sergey, we will open the Q&A session at this point. And as I said when we started, it's been a long session, but as I said, we will try to answer all of the questions at this Q&A session. But if there would be questions that we don't have time to answer, we will make sure that you get an answer via email in the event. As I said, we're not able to answer them right now. And also, so let's see, we should kick off with the questions as up here then. Let's see what we have here. This one is from Juan Carlos, and he is basically asking, this one is for you, Roberto, because he's asking about the integration with codecs, and if the intercom systems are working on with the Venus only or with the Phoenix Mercury codecs as well. Even if I know the answer, I'd rather have you to answer that question, Roberto.
Well, integration depends on the codec. In case of Mercury, we have an analog interface, analog or AS3, a digital interface. In that case, depends on the matrix. We can have the control over IP, and the audio. We connect the audio codec to the matrix using or analog interface or AS3 interface. And when we want to control or to have a connection with maybe an external codec like ALIO in the other part of the world, we can use that Mercury or maybe Stratos or Venus 3, the other audio codec, to have a connection from the matrix to that audio codec.
Okay. And now one from Fashal for the belt packs, for the wired belt packs. Are we using PoE or PoE plus? A good question, because it depends on
as far as I know.
switch.
Well, it's possible to use the both PoE or PoE plus. We recommend to use PoE plus because we have more power in the access point. But in that case, the belt packs, of course, have a battery to power supply the equipment. And sorry, in case belt packs were the Xplorer. You're talking about the Xplorer?
The wired belt packs.
Wired, not wireless. Sorry. Wired belt packs. No, in case wired belt packs, the BP 3004 only need power over Ethernet. No need plus.
Okay. Now, this is a brilliant question. I suppose that pertains to the initial part of the webinar, but it's regarding what do you say? The 70, 21, 10, 30, 31, I suppose. It's with regards to how many channels are available in those formats. So that would be for you, Roberto, as well. I mean, we specify it in our card because we can do many flows.
Yes, yeah. In case the part 30, we have 64 channels of Dante or AS67, or in case the 2110 31, we have 128 channels with compatible with AS67 and Ravenna.
Mm-hmm. Okay. See, I'm sorry for the delay in getting to the questions, but it's more complicated than easy to jump between the different menus here in the webinar tool. We had a pretty good question the other day, and that is repeated today, and that's with regards to the way we use the wireless belt packs. We're using Wi-Fi connectivity with 2.4 and 5 gigahertz bandwidth. And the question is basically, how is it comparing to the DECT systems, and you know, what are the advantages from DECT and or compared to DECT, and if there are any advantages using Wi-Fi or not?
Well, in case of Wi-Fi, it's of course free band in 2.4 or 5 gigahertz. It's in the case of 5 gigahertz, it's we have a lot of channels and we have a lot of bandwidth, and we don't have any limitations in the number of devices connected in channels. That the limitation we have in DECT, because we have a limitation in number of devices connected to an access point or antenna, and we don't have that limitation in case of Wi-Fi. We don't have limitations. Well, have more than 20 devices we can manage in one antenna, and we have a lot of antennas. And of course, we have the soft roaming or soft handover to between or among the different antennas, and we can pass the beltpack through that antennas without gaps or cuts.
Okay. Yeah. No, and I mean, with the 2.4 gigahertz, we have better penetration, but lower bandwidth and less channels.
Yes, and have a bit more saturation, maybe, depends on the ambient. And of course, when the frequency is low, the penetration is better. And in case of 5 gigahertz, we have less penetration, but more bandwidth, more channels, and more directionality.
Which means that we could also use encoded audio on Wi-Fi, basically. So we could reach better bandwidth. We could reach 8 kilohertz using these beltpacks.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, it's funny because I mean, a lot of people also ask about the security between Wi-Fi and DECT and so on and so forth. Well, basically, we have the inherent or intrinsic security of the Wi-Fi systems that are encrypted anyway, and people have the misconception sometimes that they think that the DECT is a more professional system, but both systems are actually coming from the consumer side of things. Both DECT is for consumer telephony, and the Wi-Fi is also basically an implementation of internet, wireless internet, and that's it.
Yeah.
All right. I don't see too many more questions here on the panel, the questions panel. I don't know if, I hope I haven't omitted any questions. If anyone else has any further questions, we would be happy to answer them. If not, and if I have missed something, you have to excuse me. In that case, we will reply to those questions using the email address that you used when you registered. It's been almost 2 hours of a webinar, so it's been a long one, and you've been paying a lot of attention. You've been very attentive. I want to thank Sergey. I want to thank Roberto. You've been really helpful. It's been really good today. And I hope to see you soon again. And before you leave, guys, as I said at the beginning, and it's been 2 hours almost. So, but please remember that you will be presented with a short questionnaire. It's only 3 or 4 questions. Please answer them. It'll be very helpful for our marketing and promotional team, and they will help us to improve these webinars and making these sessions more and more interesting as time goes by. So from all of us to all of you, thank you very much, and really hope to see you guys soon again.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. See you.